Smashbox just came out with these new Always On Mood Board eyeshadow palettes. I believe there are 4 colorways and I received 2 out of the 4 in PR. I really haven't heard anyone talk about these, but these are so cute and little, and I love it because it reminds me of their Cover Shop palettes that came out, I don't know, 6 years ago or so. I don't know the exact date of that. I don't know if they still sell them, but they had these little Cover Shop palettes. I want to say it had like 8 shadows in there. There was like 2 bigger ones on top and like a little row of shadows, and it had a really cool kind of flippy image on the front, and they had a bunch of different colorways of those, so I'm wondering if these are kind of like a newer updated version of those palettes. I really like the size of these. They are nice and small, and you do get 8 shadows inside, which I think is pretty good for a little small complete palette. So like I said, they sent me 2 out of the 4 color stories. The first one is Earthy Vibes. I really like the tone of this, how it is slightly more neutral, but you have this really fun, like almost lime green, a little bit of yellow, kind of like a very deep green shade here. Like it really is earthy vibes, like I get it. And then the second one is Bougie Vibes, and I think this one's really pretty as well. I love the pinks, the purples, kind of more like rosy tones in here. So I asked you guys on Instagram which one you want to see a tutorial on, and the votes were so close, literally 3 votes difference. So out of these 2 palettes, Bougie Vibes won by 3 votes. I'm excited to play with the formula. I feel like we have a really good mix of matte and shimmer shades in here, so let's see what kind of look I come up with. I already primed my eye with the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer, and I set that with the face powder, so let's get started. I'm gonna take the shade Coral Support on a fluffy blending brush, and I'm gonna start by placing that shade in my upper outer crease. The shade is pretty light, so I'm doing a couple layers of this. Alright, so I had to do about 3 layers of that shadow to get it to look like this. It is a really nice transition shade for me. Next, I'm going to pick up Wine Stain on the same brush, and I'm going to start by building up this shade on the outer part of my lid, and I will connect it into my outer crease. So I like to make sure I get most of the product off my brush where I want the most pigment, which is going to be on my outer lid. And then I'll start to bring the brush up and do more of a blending motion in my crease. And I'm going to go back to that first shade I started with and kind of use that to blend around the edges of the deeper shade. This will also help just to smooth everything out. Next, I'm going to pick up Charge It on my finger. So it looks like that, and that's going to go on this inner blank part of my lid. Now I'm going to go back to the brush I've been using and just softly blend around that shimmer kind of right here in the inner crease area, just to soften out these edges. I really want to try this light purpley shade, so I'm also going to pick this up on my finger. And I want to see if this will show up if I kind of place it in between that pink shimmer and my matte shade, kind of right on this outer 3/4 part of my lid. Is that showing up a little bit? Just kind of added like a little touch of purple to the look. Now I'm going to do my under eye concealer. And then I'm just setting that area with my face powder. I really want to use more of this purple shade, so I'm going to take that on a pencil brush, and I'm going to run that across my entire lower lash line. Okay, I actually got quite a bit of fallout with that, so I ended up spraying my brush with some setting spray. Try that again. The setting spray kind of helps the shadow stick to the brush better, so it's not going to get all over your face. Okay, but that is a really pretty color on the under eyes. I really like that. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that Wine Stain shade. I'm going to place this on the outer part of my lower lash line, and I'm going to connect that to the Wine Stain shade that's in my outer crease area. Then I'm taking a little bit of that lightest Coral Support shade to blend out the lower lash line. Now I'm gonna pick up that deep purple on a small angled brush, and I'm gonna do a little wing with this shade. You can see I have some fallout right down here, so I like to take a fluffy brush and just very gently and quickly try to whisk that away, and sometimes it doesn't always work. So if that doesn't work, then I'll take a little spoolie and just kind of like grub at the shadow a little bit with the spoolie. Even though I set my under eyes, I will just take my concealer brush with nothing on it and just kind of tap over that area. It's not gonna look perfect, but it's slightly better. I know I did a terrible job at demonstrating that wing, but I feel like my wing's a little too just like straight out. I want it to be a little more angled up, but I can't really fix it at this point. I don't think it's terrible. It's definitely doable, but I need to stop here before my wing just gets out of control and huge. Now I'm just gonna pop on any kind of highlighter shade. I'm taking Bright from my palette with Sigma, and I'll do a little bit right under the brow as well. I'm gonna go finish off this look with some mascara and lashes. I decided not to do any fake lashes. I'm kind of into this more softer look right now with just mascara, and for my mascara, I use the Tower 28 Make Waves. And here's the final close-up of the eye look. Here's what the full face looks like. I kept the rest of my makeup pretty simple today. On my lips, I'm just wearing the Too Faced Kissing Jelly Gloss in Sour Watermelon. And then my blush slash bronzer is the Bare Minerals Blonzer in Kiss of Pink. I thought this would go really nicely with those kind of more coppery shades in my crease. All right, let's talk about this palette. So I really do like the idea of this palette. I like that it's small. I like that it's 8 shades, and you kind of do get a complete color story. I feel like there's a good mixture of matte and shimmer shades. I also really like that this palette has some depth to it, and we have a mixture of lighter tones right here, more mid-tone, and then it does go pretty deep with that deeper purple shade. Now, out of the 4 color stories, this one isn't my personal favorite, but this is the one that you guys voted for. But I was looking online at all 4, and if I had to pick one, it would probably be Cozy Vibes. It is clearly the more neutral palette, but I really do love the tones in it. And then as far as the formula in this palette, I really did enjoy it. It was really easy to work with, and I found the shades to be a bit creamier than I expected. I don't know why. Maybe the CoverShop palettes were more of like a drier formula, but I was like pleasantly surprised when I swatched these, when I applied them. The only thing is I wish that pinky shimmery shade was just like a little bit more like oomph to it. So I think if I were to use this again, I would use something like the NYX Glitter Primer underneath to really make those shimmers pop. If you want to see another video of me using the Earthy Vibes palette, let me know down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.